Ever crossed paths with someone whose arrogance is a physical assault? The kind you just want to reach out and pull the self-importance right out of their chest? They strut in, believing they're the main event, the only relevant person on the planet. They literally operate on the principle that admitting fault would violate the laws of physics. They talk over you, not because they have something important to say, but because the sound of their own voice is the only music they care to hear. They treat every conversation like a one-person talent show, and view your entire existence as merely background scenery to their magnificent life. They are the human equivalent of a flashing neon sign that screams, "I am insecure, please validate me." Good, because we're about to equip you for psychological warfare. We're not advocating for petty comebacks or sinking to their level of emotional sludge. That's for amateurs. We are using philosophy, specifically the devastating methods of Nietzsche, to obliterate that ego from a position of absolute, unassailable strength. This isn't small-time revenge, this is true power. Prepare to acquire a presence so potent, it makes people sweat. It's time to put the boot on the neck of that boastful narcissist and own the skill to instantly neutralize anyone who thinks their status, their money, or their relentless self-promotion grants them immunity. Now we're diving into 3 psychological nukes that will make you a master of social dynamic. And once you learn them, you don't just destroy egos, you become ego-proof yourself. You become the person who is simply unflappable. Stick around till the end for the bonus tactic on achieving the Übermensch mindset, the ultimate guide to being unmanipulable. Let's go. Tactic 1. Indifference is the most violent weapon. Nietzsche once said, "He who fights with monsters should see to it that he himself does not become a monster." This is the foundational law of this fight. You don't need to argue. You don't need to scream. You don't need to spend an ounce of your mental energy trying to prove them wrong. You just need to master the deadly art of not caring. Egotistical people thrive on your reaction. They are like a black hole, desperately trying to suck in the energy of anyone nearby. They want your approval, your attention, your outrage, anything that proves they matter enough to warrant a reaction. They interpret your anger as a sign of their importance. Your attempts to correct them are viewed as jealousy. The moment you hit them with calculated, ice-cold indifference, their little ego starts glitching. It's a complete system failure because you've denied them the fuel they require to run. When someone brags, just nod. Don't compete. Don't try to one-up them with your own achievements. That's what they expect. Instead, simply say, in the most neutral, even tone possible, "Cool," and move on like they just told you what they had for breakfast. Shift the conversation immediately to an unrelated, mundane topic, or even better, back to what you were doing. That tells them, without a single word of hostility, that they are not the main character in your world, that they are, in fact, an unimportant detour. That hurts more than any insult because it strikes at the core of their perceived relevance. Ego can't survive where there's no oxygen. Attention for them is oxygen. Kill the reaction, kill the ego. Pro tip: drown them in silence and calm curiosity. The next level of this tactic is to deny them the applause and force them to justify the core of their boasting. When they brag about an achievement, ask, "What was the specific struggle you overcame to achieve that?" Or, "What did that experience teach you about your own failure?" These questions cut through the fluff. They force them out of the celebratory performance and into the uncomfortable realm of self-reflection and struggle, the things they desperately want to hide. It's not hostile. It's just the sound of their self-serving narrative collapsing under the weight of genuine, non-competitive inquiry. Tactic 2. Ask them one question their ego can't answer. Egos hate one thing more than being ignored: being exposed by their own illogic. Nietzsche was a master of exposing contradictions. This tactic is pure intellectual jujitsu. When they're flexing, bragging, or acting superior, you calmly ask a simple, surgical question that shatters their self-image by pointing out the glaring inconsistency between their words and their reality. You are not fighting their statement. You are exposing their hypocrisy. If they say, "I don't need advice from anyone, I'm a self-made genius," you ask, "Then why do you get so defensive and angry when someone simply disagrees with your opinion?" The contradiction: true confidence doesn't need to defend itself. If they say, "I know exactly what I'm doing. Trust me, I'm the expert," you ask, "Then why are the results of your actions consistently not matching your very high level of confidence?" The contradiction: confidence without competence is just delusion. If they say, "I'm just being real, I say what everyone else is thinking," you ask, "Real or just insecure and loud about it because you want a reaction from others?" The contradiction: true honesty doesn't require performance. You don't insult them. You don't raise your voice. You just aim a mirror at their ego and say, "Explain this logical inconsistency." The silence that follows your question is the sound of their mental machine machinery grinding to a halt. Nietzsche said, "Sometimes people don't want to hear the truth because they don't want their illusions destroyed." This tactic doesn't destroy their ego with noise. It forces them to do the destroying by trying to defend their own contradiction. That is psychological checkmate. Critical warning. This is not about winning an argument. It's about forcing a moment of self-reflection they are not equipped to handle. Your calm is their chaos. You deliver the question, then you drop your side of the conversation. You've planted the seed of doubt. The work is done. Tactic 3. Expose their insecurities. Using compliments. This one right here is personal, and it's a social psychological masterstroke. It uses their own mask to strangle them. You identify the source of their underlying insecurity, the one thing they are desperately trying to cover up with their arrogance. Instead of calling it out directly, which would lead to a fight, you compliment it loudly and publicly. But here's the trick. You overdo it. You make the compliment so specific and so exaggerated that it highlights the exact thing they are trying to hide. If they are deeply insecure about their lack of professional credentials, but endlessly brag about their self-taught success, oh my God, you're so entrepreneurial. I mean, running a business without a college degree? That level of pure grit and completely self-taught knowledge is honestly inspiring. You've publicly emphasized the lack of the degree and the need to prove their grit. If they rely heavily on perfectly curated social media photos, expensive clothing, and a materialistic display of wealth, wow, I wish I could post as many selfies and branded outfits as you. It takes such incredible confidence to base your entire identity on your looks and material possessions like that. You are confidence gold. You've associated their confidence with shallowness and a dependence on external validation. If they are constantly late and disorganized but blame every failure on external factors, I genuinely admire your commitment to the creative, messy lifestyle. It takes a real artist to just completely disregard structure and accountability the way you do. That level of freedom is really something. You've rebranded their lack of discipline as an artistic flaw, drawing attention to their irresponsibility. Their ego is now tap dancing on a high wire, wondering, did they mean that? And wait, is that how people actually see me? It's psychological whiplash. Egos aren't built on truth. They're built on performance. When you start echoing their own lies back at them with extra volume, their entire fragile identity starts shaking. This tactic brings the chaos to their carefully constructed reality. The bonus tactic: how to become ego-proof yourself. The Übermensch mindset. So let's recap the 3 psychological nukes. 1. Indifference. 2. The surgical question. 3. Weaponized compliments. But the true goal, the Nietzschean goal, is not merely to destroy other egos. It is to become ego-proof yourself. This is the ultimate, highest form of power. The Übermensch, often translated as Overman or Superman, doesn't need validation from them. They don't seek approval. They create their own standards, their own values, and their own meaning. They don't react. They respond with purpose, clarity, and power. They are self-contained. A person with a massive ego is the most easily manipulable person in the room because they are slaves to the opinions of others. They are constantly checking their reflection in the eyes of everyone they meet. Savage reminder: if someone can hurt your feelings just by withholding attention, they control you. To become ego-proof, you must accept Nietzsche's radical concept. You are the author of your own value. What they think of you is irrelevant. What they say about you is noise. You are living by an internal code that is impenetrable to their petty assaults. Be the calm storm. The ego isn't strength. It's a fragile costume stitched together by fear. The most dangerous person in the room isn't the one shouting. It's the one who is utterly unfazed by the noise. The one whose presence demands respect, not through volume, but through substance and stillness. It's the person who can watch an ego melt down and simply walk away, completely unbothered. That's not cruelty, that's evolution. That is the philosophy of power. Now, go out and dominate. If this video hit a soft spot, hit that like and share button. It helps us reach more people who need this message. And if you're committed to building an unbreakable mind and habits that puts all these ideas into practice, make sure you're subscribed to our channel because we bring you practical advice ready to implement in your day-to-day life. Remember these insights and the solutions, implement them today. Just pick 1 or 2 and do it right now. And for more deep dives into strengthening your mind and habits, check the rest of our videos. One more thing before we wrap up. Take good care of your mind and emotion. This is the most important asset you have and your biggest investment. Protect and grow it every day so you'll reach that next level you are aiming for. Remember, your mind is worth fighting for. See you in the next video.